Let's all give a wonderful, warm round of applause to our guest speaker today, Janice Hamilton.
Thank you so much. I should have made that intro. I should have sent a shorter bio to you all, but it's very nice to be here and I really appreciate the opportunity. And I feel like I'm amongst a number of friends and so I'm really happy to be here. So I've got a presentation, so I'll maybe share my screen if that's okay. Let's just get it here. Share. Okay. Do you see it? You do? Okay, excellent. Great. Okay. So I assume a number of you are aware of, I should have done a show of hands. How many people are aware of the Manitoba Council for International Cooperation? A few of you, I'm sure. Maybe it's new to, is it new to anyone? Now I won't be able to see everyone, but. So I'll just give a little bit of background. We have 43 organizations that belong to the council. It was founded in April of 1974. So in a month, we'll be 49 years old. The Winnipeg Rotary Club Community Service Fund has been a member for the past 2 years. So we're happy that we are still getting new members. And that's always great because it brings new experiences to the group. Many of our other members are ones you've probably heard of, like World Vision, CARE, many of the faith-based organizations, Mennonite Central Committee, Canadian Lutheran World Relief, United Church, as well as other smaller organizations such as Make Music Matter, IDE Canada, and People to People right here in Manitoba. So we have a 12-member board, and we're currently, Divya Sharma is a member of our board. So she was nominated by Rotary last year. So we're very happy to have her. So our vision is a just world for all. It's really something that, you know, is something that we can all strive for. And I think obviously Rotarians certainly strive for that as well and work very diligently at that. I'm not going to go into our strategic plan too much, but I did want to just share our mission. And that's, you know, that we support and connect and amplify the work of our members and our partners. And we directly engage with and collaborate with Manitobans for global sustainability. And I thought I would kind of arrange my presentation around our 4 pillars, which are, you know, supporting international cooperation through funding, engaging the public as active global citizens, and supporting the connections and capacity building development of our members and partners for greater impact, as well as maintaining and strengthening organizational wellness. And we're going to just try this. We're going to see how this works. I'm just going to show a quick little video, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. If you don't, it's not long, and maybe you can put thumbs down if you don't hear. Okay. And I can see Jeanette.
Manitobans know they're part of a bigger community that includes not only all of Canada, but the whole planet. For more than 40 years, Manitobans have been acting as global citizens. Our people and dollars have worked all over the world in all kinds of different ways to help make a safer, fairer, healthier future for everyone. But we've still got a long way to go. In 2015, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals set out a plan to achieve some extraordinary things, like ending extreme poverty, fighting inequality and injustice, and tackling climate change. We want to make sure no one gets left behind, because it's not just about us helping them. It's up to every single person on the planet to listen to each other and work together. With a little creativity and lots of collaboration, we can be the generation that sees the global goals become a reality.
Great. So that's just an overview of some of the work that we do. And one of our main areas, and I probably spend a fair bit of time today talking about, is our support through international cooperation through funding. And I also want to just say that Manitobans are extremely generous, as I'm sure you're aware. And last year, our members raised over $31.3 million in the province for their international development work. And that was up about $2 million from the year before. So it continues to grow, which is very, exciting and wonderful. So we get funding from the Manitoba government, called the Manitoba Government Matching Grant Program. And this is something that we've been getting since 1975. It's currently at 1.25 million per year. It was also, that was in the budget that was released last week. Last year, or I guess this fiscal year, we actually received an additional 150,000 for relief and rehabilitation in the Ukraine, and $200,000 for flooding in Pakistan. So that was over and above the 1.25 million. So the other part that I'll talk about as well is we have some Government of Canada funding, our Fund for Innovation and Transformation, which is a national program for organizations to test innovative solutions to advance gender equality in the Global South. So looking at where our funds go, last year we funded 51 projects in 26 countries. The majority of them you can see are in Africa. And we provided the Winnipeg Rotary Club, Community Service Club, our fund, with just under $8,000 for a project in South Africa. I think it was beyond subsistence, moving women and men from dependency to dignity through market gardens. And I think this year you've applied for a theme fund. And this year the fund is on, we have a different theme each 2 years. And so this one is on climate change and food systems. And so the board will be approving those, the selected ones on Monday. So we will hear very shortly about that. But that one I think is probably along similar lines. It's on early childhood development centered based climate resilient food gardens, and looking to enhance the cognitive and physical development of 600 under 5-year-old children in rural and marginalized communities in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. So anyway, I'm hopefully we'll have really good news for you soon on that. So last year, and when I'm saying last year, that's in fiscal year 21-22, just because we don't quite have all our stats. Our year end is a couple of weeks. And so on there, I guess you can see that our projects, the majority are in Africa. Last year were 45, and this can vary from year to year, with about equal number in Asia and the Americas, and then a smaller amount in the Middle East. And we have 4 windows of funding. And so our development fund is one that is the largest one, and that's what all members can access. And organizations get allocation based on how much they raise in the province relative to others, with a minimum of 6,500 and a cap at 130,000. And so then we have a relief and rehabilitation fund. So that's for humanitarian assistance for things that come up, and organizations can apply for that if they're working in the area. And it's a first come, first approved process for that. As well as we have a community solidarity fund that's for organizations that aren't members of MCIC. So sometimes, in fact, Rotary Club has applied for that previously before becoming a member. And other groups are often diaspora community groups, sometimes schools, sometimes churches that apply for that. And then the theme is one that if any funds are not used in any of the other areas, then we use those through a competitive process. And so that's just in what we're just doing right now. And so we usually have sometimes twice as many requests as we have money for. I think this year, it's 2 to 1. I think we had requests for about 300,000, and I think we have close to 200,000 that we are going to be distributing through the theme fund. And then this is just showing where the numbers. So, just under 400,000 participants have been involved in our members programs, and then that we funded last year. And then we have almost 3 million indirect people that are also involved, benefit from the project funding. So we like to look at, sometimes the impact is, almost 7 times as much as the actual direct beneficiaries. There again, that varies from time to time, just depending on the type of project that our members are involved in. And we always look at the sustainable development goals. And so as you can see, gender from this word cloud, gender equality is a very big focus of our members' work. And this is not necessarily, our members are involved in many different things. These are the projects that they submit to get funding from us. So it's not necessarily a reflection of all of our members' work, but it's of the funds of the projects that we have funded recently. And so no poverty is very high, quality education, zero hunger. So all of those are, really important areas. And we have a few less on life on land, potentially, or sustainable cities and communities. So now I'm going to just tell you a little bit about our Fund for Innovation and Transformation. It's a 5-year program, a national program, and we're just about to start our 5th year of the project. So we received $16.5 million for this from Global Affairs Canada, and over 11 million of it is going to what we call small and medium-sized organizations. And so these are organizations that can be anywhere in Canada that are wanting to test an innovative solution to advance gender equality in the Global South. Really important that they're working with a local organization, ideally a women's rights organization in the Global South. And organizations can apply for $150,000 to $250,000, and it was for a very short period of time, 8 to 15 months, to really test an idea. So it wasn't an implementation project. So we have 3 areas. So the funding, we've done 5 intakes of that. We've built capacity, and we're now in really much the learning and sharing and knowledge sharing. So as I'll show later, a number of our projects have finished, and so they are looking for opportunities to scale. They're also looking at opportunities to share with others in the sector and the public about what they've learned through their testing projects. So through our 5 intakes, in 3 years, we were able to fund 54 organizations, and there was testing happening in 33 countries. Very happy about proud about this, because it was a 2-stage application process, and there was this global pandemic right when we were launching it. So anyway, our SMOs persevered and did really, really well. I think, if anything, one of the things we learned, it forced some of the Canadian organizations to actually rely more on their local partners. So our local partners, their local partners were very much involved in the day-to-day and in the monitoring and the collecting data. So I think that was also a really strong learning that we've gotten from this. And as well, it's really connected people electronically. So we've been able to do a number of virtual monitoring visits with the participants as well as the local partners, which is really, really wonderful from my perspective, because it's not like we can travel to them all, and it's not like everyone can travel to them. So we have just started, we've done 2 actual in-person monitoring trips now, just finished one to Nicaragua, and then we had done one to Kenya in October. So yeah, so this is where they're located, the Canadian organizations, and then the projects, and the majority are in Africa, but they are also some in Asia and Americas. I wanted to just touch on a couple of them, and one of them is Rolla Hippo, which I don't know if you've heard of. It's based out of BC. They work with the Rotary Club in BC. They also are involved with the Rotary Club in South Africa. And so they're working on food security training program in South Africa, and they used a water mover. And I'm not sure if this will work or not, but this is a little replica they sent to me. And so it's like a big barrel that the women are able to roll, or anyone is able to roll, and fill it up with water. And it's, saves people's backs, etc. And people are still going to get the water, having the opportunity to talk, but then it's also what they're doing with making their, maybe it's market gardens. I mean, it might be quite similar to the project that you are funding currently. So that's kind of an interesting one that we've been working with. Another that's in Winnipeg here is St. Mary's United Church. They did a program in Zimbabwe called Men Can Cook. And they had some pretty amazing results in a fairly short period of time about changing attitudes about gender roles. And the men have taken on some more cooking responsibilities, as well as some childcare responsibilities, and the women have allowed them. And there's also been a number of training sessions every 2 weeks, talking about this sort of thing. And it has, really interesting stories that we're hearing from St. Mary's about this, of how it's changed, and how even a teenage boy was telling his father, that's a waste of time. I don't know why you're going there for every 2 weeks, because they had to travel a distance to participate in it. And they actually, the father said, I feel like I'm a better person now. And don't you think it's better? We're not fighting as much in our family. I want, I know more, I want you to do more. And so it's very heartwarming to hear these kind of things. And they've also realized that actually the police have realized that the gender-based violence in the communities in which this program has been happening has gone down. And this is in I think a 12 or 15 month testing period. So that's very hopeful and interesting to hear, I think. But we have lots of other organizations that are testing things. And, if you ever wanted to have one of them speak, I'm sure they'd be happy to, or if there's other chapters, because they're throughout the country, please let us know, because we've got some really interesting ones. You can also find them on our website as well, which is fit-fit.ca. And this is just, we are funding actually civil society organizations, private sector organizations, social enterprises, and post-secondary. The majority are civil society organizations, but it is it was open to all. So I should say, it was, because our funds are now used, and so we're working and hoping it might have an extension, but we're still not aware, don't know if that's going to happen or not yet. So this is, just going to check my time. I maybe won't show this. There is a video of Khalid, who is with Ogo Health. He's a Somali Canadian, and he came up with digital tech solution, which was actually sending reminders to parents when their children's vaccines were required. Had over 90% compliance with it, learned some things, because initially it was text messages. So some of the mothers had to get their children to help. So then they asked, can you do voice message? So they were sending them voice messages. And they've also digitized their health records. And so it really comes from a point of him visiting his grandmother and seeing how the system was working. And so it's been very well received in Somalia, and he's hoping that it's going to be used in a few more areas of Somalia. So the other part of our program is our Inspiring Action for Global Citizenship, which is our public engagement work. And so we get funding from Global Affairs for this. And we've just been renewed. So we're very happy about that for another 3 years. All of our work is, or most of our work relates to the Sustainable Development Goals. And we found that's been a really good process because it makes it easier to talk about the global local connections. Obviously, we've been talking about that for a long time, but it's really nice to be able to sort of point to this international goals and people realize that it certainly impacts them here, and that we also need to work on these issues here. Oops. That's just sort of showing sort of our reach across the country. Obviously, we have a bigger reach and following in Manitoba, but we have certainly learned that we have lots of followers doing more things online, that we do have people following us from other places in the country and the world. So we have we do a lot of work with educators and youth, and we have lots of stuff on our website. So if you wanted to check that out, you're most welcome to. Many of our resources are there. We do workshops with students. We do professional development workshops for educators, and support organize youth in learning more about sustainability and global citizenship. We're just wrapping up our A Better World is in Sight, which is a 360 video cylinder installation. And it's currently at St. James Collegiate or High School. And so we've been at 5 schools since January for a couple of weeks each. And so this was a joint project with the Manitoba Council, the Saskatchewan Council, and the Alberta Council. And we had 4 films that we were showing. So it was almost like being in there a little bit. So it's kind of virtual reality, but you don't have to wear the goggles. And some of you may have saw it when it was at the Forks in May and June last year, May, I guess. One of the films that we've been profiling is a Rotary one. So 2 drops of patients on polio vaccination in, I believe it's Uganda. We also do give awards to students, and so this is the ones that won our awards last year for global citizenship. They're for the Take Action projects that are part of the global issues course in grade 12. And so Divya was one of the ones that won that award. And we have International Development Week, which is the beginning of February every month. And we have we had a kickoff event at the legislature. It was great to be able to meet again there. We participated in a Go for the Goals game at the ice hockey game. We had book contests with schools. We had students redesign the $20 bill with what SDG they feel is the most important to them. We had an author event a couple of weeks later at the Park Theater with Clayton Thomas Mueller, and on a really, really cold night on February 22nd. But we still had about, I think there were 60 people that showed up, so we were very happy about that. And I think that my time is probably up, right? Is it? So I have a video that I could show, which I think is a nice way to end off, if that's okay. We have a Voices for Change program every year where we invite high school students to participate in this process. And sometimes we have 5, sometimes we have 3. This year we worked with 1, and it was very, we found it a very amazing experience. It certainly been really helpful for, I think, this person as well. In fact, and so I'm just going to let, I'm going to just close off. So it's a spoken word piece.
If I could go back into past, I don't know if I would. All I know is that I don't want to stay here in a place that's covered snow white over half the year, Integrating means disintegrating myself. I remember when the lack of a headscarf was all it took to be seen, but that meant getting punished and being dragged from the street. Here I can't break the ice and speak my mind. No matter how nice they are, I feel they're cold. The cold that makes me feel like I'm nowhere nearly as perfect as they are not, nowhere nearly as bad as they are, mispronouncing words like "Dilam baro tang shode," which I say all the time because I miss everyone back home in a world I'm not from anymore. I've been to war, reconstructing myself. I bleached my hair 4 times and it's still not white. I couldn't dye my eyes Western colors. And even though my brown irises have kept their roots, painting my nails, though I know I'll eventually bite them out of nerves. I'm finally heard when Misky sings about failing to be the best American girl. It's the only love song I don't need to translate. I just want to be known, though I don't really know myself just yet. I just need to make sure to leave them unsure about their idea of us. They want to hear it's better for me here. I'd love to give them a tour, show them we are not all poor, sleeping in our ruin, thirsting for water and gorging on our tears, all desert and deserted, undeserving of being on the news. I wish we went front page tragedy. I really do. I wish I didn't have to wake up every day, growing up safe, while shock and fire corrupt the innocence of youth. But what's the use of feeling guilty? Tears won't cleanse nightmares of smoke and artillery to bring back dreams of fireworks and stars. The mountains blocking us are the same that got us longing for what's beyond, for peaceful fights and women's rights, to have a voice, a choice, to live their life without asking for permission. And it might seem like I don't care, like people who post stories to signal their virtue, but ignore me on the sidewalk. And maybe I am a coward. I try to act proud like the Milad Tower, but I'm just like my country, constantly changing, moving towards a future that feels backwards, but is full of hope and adventure. I see myself at home in my travels, getting in a car and driving with no destination. I see my destiny in a community of artists who never had one, immigrants like me. My phone's camera roll will be filled with memories of stages and art galleries, especially my own. I'll take long walks and write poetry on a park bench about everything I've seen, all the things I did back home anyway. But finally, I won't have to feel ashamed. Someday I see myself looking across my homeland from the top of Mount Damavand. I see the sun shining in women's hair, along with those who choose to keep theirs covered, boys holding hands and not just because they're friends, and having the strength to cry for being given that freedom. Someday I see that Iran will finally know peace. I'll finally accept my identity. I won't have to worry about having one anymore, because that's who I'll be. If I could go back in the past,
Sorry.
I don't know if I would.
So hope you enjoyed that. We really love Eileen, and she's been doing a number of presentations with the Iranian community here in Manitoba, and she's also been presenting in some other places. So we even had a non-member that reached out to us from LinkedIn, and she presented with Action Against Hunger with 50 of their staff last week, and did some other poetry for them as well. So very inspiring to hear the voices of youth. So that concludes. If you ever want to find any information, mcic.ca, and obviously you can follow us on social media, etc. but I will just stop sharing my screen. And if anyone has questions, I would love to try and answer them.
Well, thank you, Janice. Thank you for sharing. The last video